day 105. And we are making good headway in the book of Acts, the story of the early church. And I hope that you are developing an appreciation, a love for how the Holy Spirit worked in the life of the first believers. Acts chapter 16, Paul and Silas are traveling through modern Turkey preaching the gospel. They find an upstanding young man called Timothy. And Paul wants Timothy to travel with him. And the first thing that Paul does with Timothy is he circumcises him. Just remember, he has come from the Jerusalem Council where he was the main advocate saying that we don't need to be circumcised as Christians. This is not for salvation. Paul here is simply taking an obstacle away, something that would make it hard for Timothy to minister, or more specifically for people to receive from Timothy. And sometimes there's a beautiful example of sometimes there's a difference between theology and what is required practically for ministry to overcome other people's weaknesses. Paul wants to go to Asia. The Holy Spirit says no. Bithynia, no. At night he has a dream saying, come to Macedonia. He discerns this is the Holy Spirit, and they head towards Macedonia. And there's an important word change here. They becomes us and we. Luke, the author of Acts, he is now traveling with Paul as they go to Philippi. Philippi is the first city they come to in Macedonia. Obviously did not have a large Jewish presence. There was not even a synagogue. They find some woman praying. One of those women is Lydia, and Lydia becomes a believer. She believes the message of Paul. Paul goes to her house. The whole household gets saved. The first step, they all get baptized. Couple of days later, Paul and Silas get arrested unjustly. They're in jail at night, one of these other Hollywood moments, and there's an earthquake at night. They're singing, they are praising, and in the midst of this, an earthquake. The chains fall off, the gates are open, the jailer wants to kill himself because he knows a death sentence is waiting for him anyway. Paul says, no, we're all here. None of us have fled. This guy is so astounded. He says, what must I do to be saved? He's obviously been hearing the singing through the night. And Paul and his team, they go to the jailer's house, and there they preach the gospel, and his family gets saved. And their first step, they get baptized. The next morning, the message comes, Paul and Silas, you guys can go free. And Paul and Silas say, no, you can't arrest us publicly and then pardon us privately. For the sake of the church, for the sake of the believers staying behind, for the sake of the city and the witness of the church, you need to pardon us publicly so that everyone knows what we are doing is not against Rome, it is not criminal. And so after that, they carry on their journey preaching the gospel and will continue on into Greece.